Hey everyone, and welcome to the Entrepreneur Pod Guide, created to share the collective wisdom of everyday entrepreneurs who are bringing their visions to life, the ones in the arena. We've all read the same billionaire books, but what about the wisdom from the entrepreneur next door? The ones building, learning, failing forward, and figuring it out one step at a time. I'm your host, Britt Rodriguez, and every episode we're bringing you honest conversations, fresh insights, and lessons from entrepreneurs just like you. This is your place to learn, grow, and get inspired by your fellow business owners who are actually out there building businesses today, not just dreaming about them. So, let's get started.
Today on the podcast, Britt is joined by Larry Meyer, founder of RevGen and a revenue growth architect with over 30 years of experience in enterprise sales and SaaS. Larry helps B2B companies build predictable revenue engines and then layer in AI to scale them faster and more efficiently. If you're a founder who knows sales is the missing piece, this episode is for you. Let's dive in.
Larry Meyer, welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much, Britt.
It's so fun to talk to someone who's actually just down the road from me, very weirdly enough. And we only figured that out when we hopped on.
It is. It's fun.
So Larry and I are going to have to actually get together in real life too, and maybe do another podcast. But so glad to have you. Larry, tell everybody who's listening who you are and what you are working on.
Great. Hi, everybody. My name's Larry Meyer. To keep it super simple, I live back in the Midwest. My wife and I happen to have a second place down in Florida, which we enjoy going back and forth. For 3.5 decades, I've been in the B2B, generally enterprise space. The first 15 years were more manufacturing, professional services. The last 20 years have been technology, really focused in on software as a service. And the last 2.5 years have been much more of my own drive with a company called RevGen, or revenue generation.
Yeah, awesome. And I'm excited about talking about RevGen because, first of all, I love sales and I love AI, and you combine those two things wonderfully in your business. So tell us a little bit about what RevGen does and the solution you brought to the market.
Sure. It started out as a fractional offering. And the more I got into it and had interviews with prospective clients and partners of mine, it really became apparent that people aren't looking for advisors. And I know that there's maybe a thin line. People try to make it thicker than I think it is, but a thin line between fractionals and consultants or advisors. And it really gets down to how well do you know your craft? B, how willing are you to roll up your sleeves and actually dig in with the client versus advise from afar? And so I'm my second love is actually the sale itself. I get my biggest rush when I close a large deal, which I've actually gone in and out from rising up into executive management roles and then moving into more of a sales role and then rising back up into a management role and then going back into a sales role. So I haven't considered it as a roller coaster ride. I've considered it much more like it's a movement back and forth, kind of like the ocean. And it just allows me to see in a new time period what it's like to be an IC again, and then move back into a management role and then do it again in a different location.
Yeah.
And so, RevGen itself is really about building and driving predictable revenue engines and doing that. Like once you get predictability in that process, then layering in AI to put those engines on turbocharge.
Yeah, I love that. And I actually love that you have such a spark when it comes to the sales part. Like so many CEOs, so many entrepreneurs, founders, business owners actually hate the sales process. And I'm like, oh man, that must be so difficult because there's nothing better, like you said, than that rush. And so I love that you went to other roles and then would come back because you love the sales journey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do.
it's like a high, kinda,
It is.
in a good way. It's a wonderful high. Okay, so you have called yourself a revenue growth architect. And so what does that look like, in like a regular day at RevGen?
Well, my regular day is having conversations with clients and listening to their pains and creating solutions specific to those pains. So, if you went out to our website, there's a framework that I live and die by, which breaks apart anybody's go to market system into 8 different zones.
Mm,
And those 8 zones, if you're more of a B2C play, there's a couple of those zones that are less important. You could even extract them and just not replace them.
mm,
But in the B2B world, all 8 are realized and need to be optimized. And so, we bring about an AI based go to market assessment that we have a discovery call like you and I are having. And this is aside from my own experience, it gets it out of the personal. Well, I can speak to that because I have experience, or I can't speak to that because I don't have experience. It's an AI based expertise in the background that's listening to the conversation and basically red, yellow, green lighting each zone, and you as the prospect or the client, their current capabilities, what they're currently doing and how they're doing it. And so at the end of a 1 hour conversation, we come away with a report that says, here's where you're killing it. Here's where you're getting killed. Um, let's really talk about the areas in which there should be some impact getting improved. Like you, you don't want to be going down this path of like, um, unproven or unpredictable, unrepeatable processes. Your tech stack isn't set up properly. Maybe you've got the right tools, but they're not aligned and actually moving data from one to the next to the third efficiently. Or your customer success is allowing the people that all your salespeople are bringing in to walk right out the back door.
mhm.
All of these different pieces are all part of your GTM function. And any one of those can cause you problems. If you've got more than one causing problems, then we really should be digging in and taking some pretty fast action.
Yeah, I love that approach because so many companies provide a singular solution. And like you said, so you might think, oh, okay, well, I need some help with lead gen. So you go get like an AI lead gen system. But then that thing is not talking to your, you know, client retention team. That is not talking to your, automation of marketing and communications and um it's I love the singular tools, don't get me wrong, we need those, but you need, like, an overarching person, the architect, to really help and kinda make sure that everything is working as it should because it seems easier to buy these one-off little solutions, but then if they do not work cohesively together, that's a huge problem, and I'm sure that you see that a lot because people have, like, a tool or 2 or 5, but are they working seamlessly? Probably not. That's where you step in and help out.
Right.
Yeah.
Even for my own business, like it's you'd think like, hey, it should be fairly easy. You come from that world, so why would you have any difficulty? But honestly, um, when you know what good is or great is, and you put something into place and it's just not humming like you think it should, I'm not afraid to like rip and replace and put something new in. And like everything's an experiment.
Yeah.
And the more that you can test and measure and retest, if you're still getting failing results, you really need to like take action on that now.
Yeah, I think that that's such a good, way to approach it too, because I love it, especially with AI, it's changing every millisecond, right? So if we had something that was working okay, and now there's this new thing that we can implement that works really great, I love that we get to try it on our businesses first, see
Yeah,
how it's
right.
going, and then
Totally.
we can it's great because then when you're talking to a business that you're trying to work with, you're like, "Oh, this just worked for me. The reason you're on this call is because I was able to work this out and AI did XYZ to get you on this call." And it's such a great, like, way to prove the concept to people if you're already doing it. Um,
100%.
right? So, okay, so you work, B2B, it sounds like a lot, but do you also work with clients who do B2C?
I do. It's not my, it's not in my DNA. Let's
Mm.
put it that way. Like I have many years of experience in B2B and specifically like enterprise and strategic enterprise. So the more complex and the more precision focused like um, sales involvement a- and being able to actually have communication and coordination and like aggressive is not the right word, but an assertive nature while also being empathetic. That's my background. So getting more into like a product led strategy, I understand it. I know how it works. I actually co-founded another organization that I have a development partner out of Serbia. They're amazing, amazing people, but it's a sales agent application. It's 100% natural language, um, product led application that it will make phone calls in a number of different ways. I mean, I originally had it developed because it was like, I need to be able to increase my output of phone calls. I can't make enough in a day.
Right.
And so, could I have a bot do that? And is it wise enough, um, slick enough to be able to start a conversation with someone and really have two objectives? One is qualify the person that you're visiting with, and number two is set up a meeting. So, if they qualify, then please set up a meeting in the next 24 hours to 72 hours if possible. And we've developed an application that really is from an adaptability standpoint, we could put in your website into the prompt of the application and have it sell it back to you in a matter of minutes, and it'll be as effective as you are with regards to answering questions. Like it's literally amazing. The piece of it that we're still working on, it's in a beta environment, but the piece that we're still working on is the very intro. When you give it the beginning, like this is what you should say to Britt when she picks up. And it should be like, "Hi, Britt. I'm, Alex. I work for RevGen." And what's the next thing that you're going to say? Like, do you ask a question? Do you, pivot immediately to how are you? Or, I understand what you do and I think I can help you, blah, blah, blah. There's a cadence script difference that when it's literally following the script that I give it, it speaks quicker.
Mm.
And when it then moves into adapting to, you've just said something, now it's got to respond, it slows down its speech to
Mm.
where it's actually much more to where I like it. But the difference between the two still has to be fixed. So we haven't moved out of a beta program yet, but we're getting very close. I'm hoping by the end of the year,
Oh,
we'll be in a place that it could actually go, into a production mode.
now this is Nom AI. Is that the name of it?
It is. That's
N-O-N?
true.
Okay, N-O-N.
NOM, it's for a new operating model is NOM.ai.
Now these are fascinating because so I have built one. So yours is outbound. I have made one that was inbound, and holy cow, I did it for a client that I was working with, and they didn't even know that they were getting inbound calls because it was a very like outbound sales company.
Yeah.
And within not even 24 hours, there were so many clients that had called in to book because like they had missed a call from an outbound agent, right? So they called back. But the outbound agent is already on, their 25th call ahead of that one, right? So they're not seeing that these
Wow.
calls were coming in. And the effectiveness of this was unbelievable.
I
And I was
love
like,
that.
right? Like, and they're so realistic. Now, I do have a question for you because I agree. Like, there are things that can be a little off with it. Maybe they speak too quickly. Um, they or they take a little bit too long to process what the person on the other line said. So, yes, there is room for improvement for these for sure. Have you seen people be receptive to the call going out? Or have you seen people just hang up because it's not a human?
Yes, for both.
Okay. And do you think it will like, do you introduce do you have it introduce itself as AI? Like, do you make it clear that it's AI talking, and not a human?
We have some clients that have taken it out of the outbound cold call motion and put it more into like the use case is very interesting a couple different scenarios. One is this is a wholesale distributor. They are strictly using it in areas where you don't have to state that this call is being recorded.
Okay.
They want to listen to the recording. So, which is like, okay, let's just be careful
Mm,
because TCPAs are a real thing and you can get in some real trouble for recording things that you shouldn't be and reusing it. So,
right.
with that, being out in the open, um, they were using it not for outbound calls, but they were using it like to increase remind people of an event coming down the path. Like, oh, we've got a webinar happening next Wednesday. Instead of having me as your SDR or your event marketing person reaching out or telling the salespeople, hey, by the way, tell your clients that we've got this thing going on. It's now allowing the AI to do it for them.
Nice.
So it reaches out, it calls Britt, says, hey, Britt, you don't have to say a word. I just want to remind you that we have this going on. Would you please come? Or if you haven't, I'll send you the link so that you can register.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's excellent. Another one is a gentleman out of California who runs these youth sports leagues. And instead of having a rain out where you've got parents calling other parents to say, hey, we're moving from field, outside field A to indoor field B, it's the agent is calling them to say, hey, FYI, because of lightning, we're canceling for the day or moving to an indoor field. And so it happens simultaneously to all these different people.
So
And
cool.
the time frame at which it gets to happen is like unbelievably reduced.
Wow. It's so good. Like I can't I can't even remember now what it was like to have to do all those calls, and how
Right.
much time it saves having an AI agent do those calls for you, and they're so
Yeah.
effective. If for people listening, if you have never checked out one of these things, like go play with one online. Like I'm sure you can find one and you will be absolutely supremely surprised at how natural it sounds
Agree.
and how incredible the responses are. But that's very cool. So I love that you made one. So it's in beta. You hope to have it out by the end of the year.
Yes.
Okay, so Nom AI, NOMAI. So we are gonna come back to that. I'll make sure at the end of the podcast when I ask how people can reach you, we got to talk about Nom.
This episode is sponsored by our guest Larry Meyer's company, RevGen. RevGen helps B2B companies build predictable, scalable revenue systems, not just strategy, but execution. They assess your entire go-to-market engine, identify what's working and what's not, and then help you fix it fast, from lead generation to sales to customer retention. If your sales feel inconsistent or disconnected, RevGen brings everything together into one high-performing system. Visit rev-gen.com to learn more.
Let's talk about the fractional sales part because fractional sales is something that I think is such a wonderful solution for so many small businesses. And so where did you get I guess you're leaning into that because you had worked with enterprise. I'm sure you were like full on in these companies, and you found that this fractional model really can help people. So, what made you go that route?
I mean, the beginning of it was I just didn't want to have to go back into the corporate world. So
Love it.
I know there's a million different avenues to go, but it's still utilizing my expertise from 3.5 decades. And I have, a lot of friends out there. Ultimately, my goal is to really take RevGen and expand it into having another 10 or who knows how many people like myself working for RevGen. So RevGen becomes more of a brand and a marketing brand that people can rely on for, expertise in the B2B, the go-to-market space, really. So, um, and so that's covering all the way from, you know, demand generation and brand awareness to generating your leads and how do you handle efficiently those leads, managing your pipeline effectively, being able to coach your reps, being able to have executive engagement in that process and not outside of the process, um, all the way through to, well, let's look at your processes themselves. Let's put in KPIs. Let's discuss partnership programs, alliance, channel, strategic. Let's talk about customer success and the programs that you're putting in, not just to maintain, but to grow the footprint of your clients. And so all of these things, it's unbelievable, Britt, but I've been able to find um, so many companies that are either they're real small, they're still in the couple hundred thousands of dollars of annual revenue, to companies that are tens of millions of dollars. They were founded by someone who had not even at, like experience with go to market, but any kind of interest. Like they really don't want to deal with sales or marketing.
Yep.
They are scientists, they are programmers, they are something other than us,
Yes.
and they don't know how to do it. So they've hired one or two people, they've struggled along. Somehow, they keep the lights on. But to really make that thing hum and to really enjoy what they do, they need to bring in someone else who's got the experience. And so, generally speaking, especially if you're making $500,000, how are you going to afford someone who's been doing it for 3+ decades?
Right.
You can't.
Right.
So allow that to be like subsidized, bring this person in, allow their expertise to shine, whether they're helping you to hire more people or maybe they help to hire an outside sales team. Like there just has to be a lot of creativity that works to make a small amount of dollars effective. And I
Yes.
think that's another part of my blessing has been that a lot of the companies that I've worked for started out at nothing, and we help grow them into something. And then I leave and I go back to nothing. And so that like ability to roll up my sleeves, work super frugally, to understand that like, okay, well, I left an organization that ended up making several $100 million, but I'm going back into some place that's making Zippo, and I can't like live and die by the old budgets. Like those just don't exist. So it's like getting scrappy with it
Yeah.
and just having fun.
It's so cool. Ah, it's just the pure raw entrepreneurial journey that you're on. I love it. I love it so much. It lights me up. You've seen what I've seen, which is a lot of founders and creators, they just do not like the sales process at all.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
everyone listening who does not like sales, you want your own company, you've launched your own company, but you are so averse to the sales part of the journey. Mark Cuban's Sales Cures All is the thing you need to, like, tattoo on your forehead. You can make the most incredible product, tech app, whatever business you make. It can be the best one out there. If you do not know how to do sales, it will take. It will not go anywhere. Um, and the good news is for people like that, if that's you, you can work with someone like Larry who will do that for you. And it is aside from, like, the product itself, the sales is the number one thing to put your time and effort into. If you don't want to do it yourself, that's fine. Find you an incredible person who can do it for you. And that's what you solve. And it is such a huge need because I talk to founders every day that hate this part. They hate the sales part. They just want to be behind on their computer writing code,
Yeah.
or, just creating whatever that product is, tinkering in the garage. And that is lovely and that's fine. But you've got to bring in someone like Larry to help out with what makes your business go. So I do love that. Every time I talk to guests, I love to ask about the sales cures all Mark Cuban idea because sales is changing all the time, especially with AI. It's getting really different and new, and there are things that worked yesterday that aren't working today. Larry, for you right now, this is one of my favorite questions to ask on the podcast because it's timely. It's right now. Again, most entrepreneurs listening are probably struggling with that. They need more sales. They need more actual cash flow coming through the door. What is working for you right now in your company as far as sales goes and client acquisition?
Um, for my own business, it's, you know, right now my business is me. And so there's only so many hours in a day. And I have a lovely wife who we've been married for many decades. And I try to keep as close to a work life balance as possible. And so utilizing two things. One is outsourcing as much as possible. Like not hiring full time people is one of my policies.
Mm. Yeah.
If I don't have to hire them, if I don't, I want people to be happily employed. At the same time, I want to build my business to where it's very, very, very efficient. And so if I can outsource it, I'm going to. If I can use automation, I'm definitely going to. And so, I have my whole lead gen environment is outsourced, whether that's email automation, LinkedIn automation, phone calling automation. Um, that's it. And so as I get um, new opportunities to come through, I handle those personally. When I get to be in an overflow situation, like I've already got a working list of people that I'm going to be tapping on the shoulder who already know that I'm going to tap them on the shoulder to say, hey, I'm hoping starting in January, that's going to be the right time. And in the meantime, it's like setting up my structure and just ensuring that what is expected to come actually does fulfill itself.
Nice. Oh, that's an exciting place to be. I love that the AI is helping so much with that too. Because think how much further behind we'd be with these new ventures if we were having to do all those emails, all the lead scraping, all
Right.
the messaging. It's time consuming, even especially crafting even the message like from a combination of ChatGPT and things like Instantly and the LinkedIn automation. Like we can reach so many more people than we ever could before.
Totally.
It's amazing. So I love that you're using that to help you out right now in this starting part. Um, so what about let's talk about those small businesses that may not have like the biggest budget, to work on even like yours is new, my business is still new. We're at that scrappy stage trying to do things as efficiently and effectively as possible. What can we leverage a lot to help us out to really give us the best chance to bring in some sales pretty quickly? Is it AI? Is really the AI the thing that we all need to be using?
Where I generally start is to ensure that like your messaging is accurate. If your messaging is accurate and like on my website, I have an area that's, entitled intelligence. Not that, I am, but there's a section on the website called that. And it has all these articles in there. And, you know, if you were to look for a common thread between all these different articles that have been written, almost all of them start with, you know, who and what is your ICP?
Mm,
Your ideal client persona, and who or what is your unique value prop. And if we were to run a test, if you've got multiple salespeople and marketers on your team, if we were to run a test and just say separate room, nobody can hear anybody else, tell me what your ICP is. If there's consistency across the board on those people, you've got a winner.
mm,
If there's inconsistency, then we've got misalignment. And for every time that someone in any of those GTM roles are not on the same page, then we're going to be stalling deals. We're going to be, sending mixed communications and uh, fuzzy messaging, fuzzy communications to our clientele,
mm,
future clientele, which you can't have.
right.
So, get really, really set on who are we going after? What are we aiming to solve? Are we actually solving it? And then once you get there, then I think it's let's focus in on the processes.
Mhm,
Do each of us know what we are supposed to do and why we're doing it? If you came in as a new employee, contracted or otherwise, to work at RevGen on day one without asking me any questions, do I have a playbook for you to follow? To read through and to understand like, oh, I get it. Like this is my role. This is, how I fit into this company and into these processes. And if you don't, if you have to relay or, for everything, come back to me and say, okay, I did that. Now what? You got problems.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and that doesn't matter, whether you're first day on the job or you're 5 years on the job, like everybody should be able to have a written document that they can go back to as a reference to say, okay, this is standardized, whether I'm here or I'm in Timbuktu. This is a standardized process. This is exactly how we do it. Now, maybe it'll change from Well, it's how you do it in the US, but it's not how you do it in Germany or in Japan or someplace else. Great. We'll work on those nuances. But first and foremost is, do you even have it written?
Mm,
Once you've got the processes laid out, then it's time to automate. And so there's a whole lot of other things that could go in between, but I think that's like, who and what are we going after? Can we be consistent in that message? Do we have standardized processes and KPIs? Automate. And once you get to that point, which could be years in the making, then you're good. But it's always, I'm a huge advocate and experienced in CQI, or continuous quality improvement.
mm.
And so, adding that in as part of the sales processes, part of the overall GTM system is really, it, it would be a huge mistake to not do that.
Yeah.
To just say, "We got it, we're done, adios, I'm done. You know, sayonara." Now,
It's
my
in
hope is, because
stone.
I've got another side of this offering, which is, aside from, founders and CEOs of companies that have no interest in being part of the go-to-market, they just want it done for them. The other side is, there's a big population of companies, small and mid-sized businesses internationally, that wanna make the US a major market for themselves, but they don't know how to do it.
Mm.
And so that's another aspect in which about 40% of my business is coming internationally.
Wow.
And a lot of that is not helping them in their home country, it's helping them here on US soil.
Nice.
So they bring their own challenges with them because, just language and culturally, it's something that you just have to be super cognizant of and respect where they're coming from. And at the same time, try and morph their vision and their practices of what they're used to now adapting to the US market and um, people that we know, like the buying style and how that goes about.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a unique thing that you can offer people. And I can see it how, so if I were, I'm flipping it because, like, if I wanted to go to the UK, like, there are different laws, there are different rules, the compliance, rules. There is so much when you go to a different country, and having a professional in that country who's helping, um, like, and deeply understands the markets there, the rules and regulations there. That's incredibly valuable. I am sure those companies are depending on you heavily to help launch here in the US market.
I mean, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm not surprised at all to hear that
They go
about
deep fast, I'll
40%.
say that.
Yeah. Yeah, and like 40% of your clients being from an international company, that sounds right. You are very much providing something that if it weren't for you, they would probably be dead over in the US waters, you know? So that's awesome. If someone Googled your company right now and landed on your website, would they lean in and want to learn more, or would they quietly say, yikes, and close the tab? Your website is your first impression, and it's either drawing clients in or losing deals right and left. Whether we like it or not, people do still judge books by their covers, and your clients are making decisions about your business before they ever even reach out. At my company, Archer Collaborative, we design high-end strategic websites for businesses whose founders are ready for their online presence to finally align with the quality and professionalism they bring to their clients every day. Our designs are not just pretty. We bring full custom layouts, clear positioning, intentional structure, and smart systems behind the scenes, so your site actually supports your growth. If your business is doing incredible work, but your website still looks like you built it at 11 p.m. 3 years ago, then it's time to let us help you. Visit archercollaborative.com today, and let's build something that is finally worthy of your business and its stellar reputation. So this is kind of a new venture for you with RevGen, but it must be exciting. It must be really fun. What has been the most rewarding part so far about building this business for you?
We had said before that, like, selling is really my passion. And so, first and foremost, for me, like, bringing on new clients and having them have confidence in what we can do for them. Oh, I mean, my pride is like, it goes out the ceiling. So from that perspective, it's amazing. I think the next part is seeing them succeed and seeing them feel like, wow, like we didn't think we could do this.
Mm,
And so I had one experience. This is a little bit off topic, but I had one experience where um, a company was having real difficulty. It was kind of like the CEO slash founder of the business was real happy with life and somewhat took his eye off the ball from a go to market standpoint. And before he knew it, it was like, whoa, like we're going backwards in revenues. And so much so that like I don't want to have to lay people off.
mm,
So, he did go through a fairly, first of all, he and I had had some early conversations in the process to where I pseudo knew what was happening. But um, before I really knew what hit me, he had cut half of his GTM team in half,
uh,
like cut out of there. So his head of VP of sales and marketing was removed, half of his sales team removed, all of the marketing was gone. And then he hired me and was like, okay, make something of it.
mm.
And so we worked for 6 months, um, got things back into a really good place. And then, but like talking about the continuous quality improvement aspect of it, like we were still a million miles away, in my opinion, from where I thought this thing should be at.
Mm.
We improved it. We got things stabilized. The clientele knew about it. The net new side of the house was back in action, but still very streamlined. Um, but like the clarity of what their ICP was, what their their unique value prop was, super honed. The ability to communicate internally about, our process steps and where we're taking this thing, incredible. Their forecasting capabilities, like spot on.
Wow.
And so the next phase of that was he ended up selling the business,
Nice.
like putting it kind of like offhandedly, had someone in the background saying, hey, I'm interested to buy your business. Are you interested? And from the time that he was letting go of people to the time that he's getting this offer to be purchased, his valuation increased by 3x.
Wow.
And so it's that type of thing that I still can see a whole lot more to go for improvement. But at the same time, that CEO never could have gotten that 3x valuation on his business had we not gone down the paths that we did.
That it must feel so good because I'm sure that that CEO is just like on cloud 9 in 6 months being able to be like, "Wait, this thing's going under," to, "Oh, hang on, I just sold it for 3x."
Right.
Yes, like, what an investment, right? And that's why I'm telling everybody who will listen to this podcast, invest in your sales. Invest in it. That's the place to put some money. So that it must feel so good to be able to take, kind of a floundering business and get it to something
Very.
pretty thriving. Even if it wasn't even exactly where you wanted it to be, you still saw so much more potential, and so did the person who bought the business, right?
Right.
But that's awesome. So flip side of that coin, because the entrepreneurial journey is never easy, what has been kind of it can be a surprise at how challenging the thing is, or, if you figured it would be a little difficult. Now sales for you is wonderful, you love sales, but what has been a challenge in growing this business for you?
We're talking so much about AI technologies, and I think that's been one of I love the technology side of it. It's also a double-edged sword because we were talking earlier about experimentations, and that's how I see it. And at the same time, I mean, there's things that I've invested in that have been complete flops.
Right.
And so, you build a process around a new technology, you get it running, as fast as you possibly can. It doesn't hit the way that you think it's supposed to hit. And next thing you know, it's like, I've got to rip that out and put something else in. And
Yeah.
one of my applications, number one, I had used this CRM for decades. And I thought I wouldn't want to use anything else. So I put it in place. I took something out. I put my old CRM in place, and lo and behold, it was like I got into it, and it was like this thing is so darn complex. Like I'm 6 months into using it, and I still don't have half of what I wanted set up. And every time I go to do something, I've got to rely on AI to tell me how to go set this thing up because I
Mm,
don't have other people to go visit with. In fact, the company is so large, the CRM company is so large that it takes days for them to respond to anything that I've got. And it's like I need help now. I
yeah,
can't wait.
yeah.
So I finally ended up like pushing it to the side. In fact, I still owe months of subscription fees on my uh, contract, but fine. Like push it to the side, bring in this other application, get it up and going like I want, create efficiency. It'll pay for the other thing that okay, I owe until March on it. So what?
Yeah.
It'll be done and my process will be far better. So I think, for me, it's really measuring the difference between like an effective process and then bringing in the right technologies. In some cases, I thought like, I'll create my own sequences. I'm going to run my own pipeline and lead process only to find out it's really complex and you really got to ramp up the volume so high. I want to talk to people and have conversations about their problems instead of trying to do that precursor piece of it. So I'm farming it out.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that you pivoted at least with it. And it can be the technology is such a double-edged sword, like you said. So many wonderful things. And it can also be just like the bane of your existence
Yeah.
as well. And yeah, and sometimes you have to do that hard thing. You have to do a new technology you weren't planning on. Something that worked before doesn't now, or eh, it's just wild how much it can change. So I love that you are pivoting at least. That's it's certainly not fun a lot of the times, but you're able to do it, and everyone's gonna have to do that at some point, so don't cling to those,
Right.
things that have worked for you, like, sometimes you just it's much better to just take the time, do the flip to the new technology, even though that is time consuming, do that, and then you'll be much happier on the other side of it.
Right.
So, yeah, love that. Okay, let's talk about RevGen a year from now. So if we are sitting here, Larry, a year from now, we're hanging out at Disney because it's just down the road from both of us, and I say, Larry, tell me about RevGen. How is it doing now? What would you hope to happen in a year's time?
Awesome question. And I mean, my hope is that I have 10 of me that are lined up across the US and they're all 1099 friends and they're able to really roll up their sleeves and interested to roll up their sleeves with their clients. And so RevGen, you know, I think it's such a vast world out there that even if for brand awareness as a small business, it's still like this tiny little nothingness, but it's better than what it was a year ago.
Mm.
And I'm hoping that I can say the same thing. Like in a year in advance, I hope we do set up a time 12 months from now. And I can look back and say, darn, I really thought I had the world, the cat by the tail or whatever the term is. And that actually we've grown so much and I really didn't have anything at that point.
Mm.
And so I continually want to be, growing and being more efficient and maintaining a level of happiness that my clients can hear in my voice.
Oh, I love that, and I hope that that is exactly what we're talking about in a year's time. I also love the contract thing, by the way. I know we touched on that a bit, but entrepreneurs, if you are still in the old school, "Oh, we need to hire W-2 salaried employees," man, you're missing out. The contract life is incredible, and employees, if you're listening, go for contract work. It's amazing. I love contract work. Working
Right.
on projects, working in fractional positions, it's amazing. Like, check it out. Don't let it scare you not having a W-2 salary. It can be so much more fun on the contract side of things. And what a way to build up your team as well. So that's awesome. Okay, I ask every guest this the last three questions. So this first one is, can you give me a recommendation of either a book or a podcast or a social profile that you recommend our people listening to check out?
There's a book and Catherine Dewars is one of the co-authors, but she's from McKinsey. And it's a book called CEO Excellence that I highly, highly recommend. In fact, I would consider it something that's more of like an annual reread.
Oh, love those. Okay,
Yeah,
so that good where you want to pick it
it's
up and
great.
read it every year. Okay,
Yeah.
CEO Excellence by Catherine. What was the last name?
Dewar. I think it's DWAR.
Okay.
But like I say, she and the other co-authors are all McKinsey, still at McKinsey as far as I know. She for sure is.
Nice.
And it's they interviewed all these different CEOs and ex-CEOs and went through different portions of their careers, highs and lows, and asked for their input on what went well, what didn't go well. And it's just, this a full spectrum of conversations and surveys and information that's like, wow, I never would have thought of that.
Oh, cool.
So
I
yeah, I
love
think
that.
it's really good.
I love things like that. I'm actually thinking of turning this podcast, and one of my guests was like, "Hey, you should turn this into a bunch of short stories from entrepreneurs." And I was like, "That would be amazing because you are like you
Yeah,
learn just as much from the highs as you do the lows, and maybe even more from the lows." Like that's been the most inspiring to me is hearing people that have gone through some dark times in the business and how they've made it out, and that they wouldn't change anything, that they learned so much along the way. And I have a book. The One Thing. Do you know the One Thing book?
totally. Yeah,
Yeah, love that book. That's like a yearly read for me, and I love those kinds of books.
yeah.
So this is one. So CEO Excellence is a yearly read. Okay, good recommendation. Thank you. And then, so Larry, if there is one message you would like all the listeners to take away from our conversation today, what is that one message you would like to share?
Well, you were just talking in regards to, hey, for those of you that are out there with W-2s, like don't be afraid to go down the contractor route. I 100% agree with that.
Mhm.
Like, make sure that you've got 6 months of the ability for monetary savings to be able to carry you forward for 6 months to a year. But outside of that, like once you get up and going, it's very, very rewarding, I
Yeah.
think is the way to put it. It could be, um, stellar in regards to finances, or maybe it'll be okay, depending on, what you're selling and how you sell it and things like that. But honestly, like the freedom that you have and the ability to dig in there with many different clients and not just your own business, um, I mean, I love it. Absolutely love it. So I- that would be it. I'll just keep it simple.
Nice. Oh, that's such a good one. I will shout that from the rooftops until everyone finally hears it. People are so clingy to their jobs and W-2s, and I'm like, "It's okay. You can let go. You might
Right.
make more money. You might have more fun. Like, check
Totally.
it out. Like, you might have more freedom." That's a huge one. So definitely check it out. Like, be a little brave. Like, I hope this podcast, every time someone listens to it, gets a little more bravery and a little more courage. Okay, last question for you, Larry. For anyone who is like, "Oh, holy cow, I need sales stat." Larry sounds amazing, and if he has 10 Larrys by now, I need one of them because I hate sales. If people want to learn more about what you do, work with you, how can they find you? Where are they needing to go to check out Larry's offerings?
My preference is phone calls. So 312-489-1571. I'll
Nice.
give it one more time. 312-489-1571. Or Rev, that's REV hyphen gen, GEN.com. It's like revenue generation, but rev-gen.com. And Gnome AI, actually, we don't have the URL of gnome.ai. We have it as getgnome.ai. So GETNOM.ai. And you can actually run a test. You um, I think it's called demo, but click on it. It'll ask you for your name, your email address, your website, and can we call you? Like, do we have consent to call you? And you check the boxes, you add in your information, and 5 minutes later, it's going to call. It's now downloaded as a prompt your website, and it's going to call and sell you your own business.
Oh my god.
It's entirely for you to, like, get a feel for how does this thing listen and operate.
Do that, people.
So,
Yes, do that. And so that is what I said earlier in the podcast. And I love that you actually have it. You have it as a demo. If I had known that then, I would have shouted it then. And maybe I'll go back and edit in as a little edit in there. Do it. He's got it built up for you. Go try this. It's the coolest thing in the world. This kind of AI is amazing. Like, go try it out. It will just blow your mind. And the fact that you can put in your own website, I have not come across any AI tech that is doing these kinds of things that allows you to do that, where you can go pop in your website and it will do a demo call for you. That is awesome. So Larry has done it with Gnome AI. So it's getgnome.ai. Go there, try it out. You will be astounded at how incredible this stuff is.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then I will have the phone number and his other links in the show notes, so be sure to check those out. And Larry, I just now have to wrap all this up by just saying thank you so much. I'm so excited for your entrepreneurial journey. I can't wait to see where RevGen is and where Gnome AI is in a year's time. But thank you for stopping by, sharing your wisdom and knowledge with all of us entrepreneurs. We are very grateful. Thank you.
Thanks, Brett. I appreciate it.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another entrepreneur who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to fix your sales engine and drive real revenue growth, check out Larry Meyer and RevGen at rev-gen.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Now go get 'em.